What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Tonight, very late for me. But I goobed up the first attempt at recording this video, so we're doing it again because I want to get this video up tonight. So I'm a little more tired and loopy, so that'll be great. But yeah, tonight we're doing our ban list predictions. Quietly and slowly, we crept up towards the next ban list. We're almost like 2 weeks away. And I want to get this out prior to us potentially getting an early reveal on what the new ban list is going to be. So yeah, these are my thoughts on the ban list. March 1st, by the way. I didn't even realize March 1st. So yeah, very soon. Anyway, without further ado, we got some things to do. Okay, banning things. True king of all calamities. He's got to go, man. He's got to go. Cannot keep him here. He is, I don't know. He's so oppressive. We've seen him over the last couple formats, over the last couple years, pop up here and there in deck after deck, and people have been upset about it. And the sorry truth of the fact is, a couple of years ago, this card required way too much investment. You had to put in a lot of resources just to make him. But now Dexter just better. You can more efficiently make him, and he's just insane. He's an insane win condition, and this is the perfect hit for Virtual World, I think, because I think Virtual World has to become more of like a control deck, less of a combo deck. Because like, what are you comboing into really if you're not going into calamities? There's no other. I don't know if there's really another win condition for them that's like, ooh, that's scary, like calamities is. So this is a good hit, not just for Virtual World, but any deck that just wants to make VFD, just to make the game more fun in general. By the way, this is the only ban I have on my list. The format's pretty good, and I know some people are already tired of Virtual World. Some people are already tired of Drytron. I know, but I do think as far as meta decks go, they're not obscenely horrible, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because the competitive scene is a little bit subdued just because we're in COVID times, but I don't know. Very cool. Moving on, we have Cyber Angel Ben 10 to 1. This could have easily been banned. I decided to put it 1. I think banning it's a little harsh. The deck's still super new, but I do think if you're going to take away something like calamities from Virtual Worlds, like their biggest win condition, you got to do something to Drytron, because then Drytron will just like explode. I think like you have to have another deck that still rivals it. So by slightly capping Drytron by putting Ben 10 to 1, you can still loop it multiple times. You just can't like loop it, then search another one, and then loop that one. So that's the idea there. The card's insane, and 1 is plenty broken by itself. Next up, Miscellaneous Source. I know dinos aren't super prevalent at the moment, but they're around. And I wanted this card put to 1 again, last ban list. It didn't happen. I'm going to put it here. This is more of a wish than a think. I do think because the dinosaurs aren't super forefront of the meta right now, that I don't think Konami's going to feel super pressured to do anything to dinosaurs. But yeah, I mean, if I had the choice, I would put Mr. 1. I've seen people say Fossil Dig, but I think the problem is when your opponent hard opens Miscellaneous Source, so you don't know they have it, whereas they can Fossil Dig for Misk, but you know they have Misk in their hand then, so you're not going to use a hand trap and lose a hand trap for no reason at that point. But when they have Misk and you don't know about it, that's when it's like, I go -1 in the hand and they just play through it no problem. Rough. All right, next up we have Cursed Outland. This was tough because I think there's a chance that we see either Cursed Outland or Scarlet Sanguine hit the list here. I honestly don't want either of them to, but I do think like Eldritch just keeps getting splashed and keeps getting splashed and keeps getting splashed and things and things and things. A lot of players keep playing Eldritch over and over and over again, different variants. There, I think Konami just kind of wants to like limit the engine a little bit so that it's just not half of the decks out there. It's just like Eldritch variants, because their deck that they wanted to play wasn't good enough, so they just threw some Eldritch cards in there. So by taking away the best starter, Eldritch becomes one of those engines that kind of like is just so slow. You're always setting cards with it. You're never doing anything turn 1 like Outland to get a card and then dump another card, which gets you another card. And I don't know. I think hitting the starter is where they might go first. So Outland to 1. That's just my prediction. I don't want it to get hit, but yeah. Then some stuff to peel off. Mirage Stalio, please, 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 Konami, put Mirage Stalio to 1. And honestly, put it to 3, but Salamangreat's nowhere to be seen in the last couple formats. Not nowhere to be seen, a couple tops here and there. Very few and far between, so I'd love to see Mirage Stalio come back. What's so cool about Mirage Stalio is it's obviously a bomb extender. Summon Gazelle straight out of the deck. It's obviously an awesome removal card, giving you the potential to bounce a monster on the field. Awesome. And it also makes other cards in the deck like better. We've leaned off Spinny a lot more in the last couple months to year or whatever, whenever Stalio got hit, because Spinny's just not as good now. It's an okay extender, just summons itself from hand. But the really good part about it was when we had Mirage Stalio, you were making him with Spinnies, and then Spinnies would never get banished. They just go back into grave, and then you just Spinny back every single turn. It was like Jack Jaguar, but looser, and it actually got you to an insane card like Mirage Stalio. So I'd love to see Mirage Stalio come back. I think it could come to 3, and people would probably play like 2 of it. And I think it'd be a really welcome buff to the deck. Next up, Thunder Dragon Colossus. This is probably the most controversial one on the list to this point. I get it. It's very scary. Some people hate this card, but I just think, like, what deck can't out Thunder Dragon Colossus? Like, what can't? Unchained? I mean, seriously, like, every deck has, like, an out to this card now, and if you can only play 1, you're pretty much just going to try and end on it with your end board, and that's it. That's it. You just have 1 out to it. I get it. It's a walking mistake. It has its own protection, but when it's by itself, it's not scary at all. I guess if it can be played in a variant that can very consistently end on this, plus like a couple Omni negates, then maybe that's something. But I don't know, man. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh has definitely has crept up a little bit. Just every deck is just like so much better now that Colossus is just not a fully scary thing to every deck. So I think it can come back to 1. I think it wouldn't be that bad. I know a lot of people this card and think it's cool. So yeah. Next up, Firewall Dragon. It's getting an errata. I don't know when it's coming. It may not be this ban list, but whenever. As long as it has errata, put it to 3. I don't care. Cool card though. Fairy Tale Snow. This is another very controversial one. I just think the OCGs had Fairy Tale Snow. I do think there is the possibility that this waits, but I think it makes more sense for now. We do have the Ghost from the Past set coming up. We are expecting to get the 2 new Fairy Tale cards in there. And Fairy Tale Snow coming off the list could be a little something to those players to say, hey, listen, I know you're not that excited for the Fairy Tale stuff, but here's a little something that might change your mind. Snow off the list. Best card in your archetype off the ban list. Now don't you want to pick up these new cards? Just a thought. I don't know. I thought it was cool. But yeah, I think Snow could be fine. We don't have grass or anything like that, so Snow is a really cool card for sure. It could be played in something like Shaddoll variants. You could Shaddoll fusion it from deck to grave just to get it there, and then at some point you could use it from grave. I don't know. Just an interesting card. I love this card. Next up is Scapegoat. We're in the semi-limits now, by the way. That's all the limits. Semi-limits, Scapegoat. This could be limited. This could be semi-limited, or this could be fully unlimited. I talked about this for the last like 2 ban list predictions, guys. Scapegoat just needs to come off. Like, it's so slow. Going second, it's horrible. Going first, it's only just like a follow-up play, like a power push card, and that's all it really is. Only good in like very slow strategies that just try and slow the game down. Yes, is it powerful? Sure. But we also have 1-card combos that get you like 5 negates in this game. This card does nothing of the sort. Doesn't disrupt your opponent. It just has the equivalent of like a Link 4 going into your next turn. And you can't summon the turn you do it. So what's the harm? I don't get it. So just a thought. Really cool card, and I'd love to play it in certain decks that can afford it. I don't know. Card. Dynamite Knight. This can come to 2. Anything that's not like Diagram and a Masterpiece. That's a Draco card, can just come off the list, but you know they probably won't do it fully with Dynamite. They probably put them to 2 and then put them to 3. Just put them to 2, totally fine. And then we move into the Unlimits. True King's Return, same thing. If it's not Diagram and it's not Masterpiece, take it off the list. It's already at 2, put it to 3. It doesn't do anything. Draco doesn't. Red Eyes MD, same thing as Firewall Dragon. It's getting an errata, so that one, put it to 3. Who cares? The Lauren, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier, another really cool card, but it's same thing. Got an errata, take it off the list. Nobody cares. That is it for everything that I'm actually predicting. This final part here is going to be talking about a couple cards you might be interested to hear my thoughts about, just because these are pretty popularly talked about cards that you might want hit or whatever. I'm just going to tell you why I left them on the list. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. I think there's no point in putting Dragoon to 1 like the OCG did. I think if you're going to hit him to 0. The only thing hitting him to 1 does is like it hurts the decks that play him and Extravagance. So I guess like Subterrors, like decks like that just play like the Subterrander with just like multiple copies of the fusion, and you just hard fusion. And if you desire, or if you Extravagance, you don't want to hit all your Dragoons, so you play 3. So I guess this stops those people from, and makes that, you know, their deck more bricky that way. But I don't think that's that big of a deal. I don't know. Like, I think if they're gonna hit this card, just ban it. Don't even worry about the rest. Just ban the card straight up. Don't even go at it. So I'm leaving Dragoon off for now, and I think we still need a format where like it feels really like either you out their Dragoon or you lose, or they out your Dragoon or they lose. And until we have a format that's like truly like that, and I think this format's more like that than last format, but we'll have to see. I think that'll be the format where Konami's like, yikes, get this card up out of here. Heavy Metal Foes Electromagnet. This is one I really wanted to put on the list, just because we just got it Metal Foes cards, you know, a week and a half ago. We're gonna get, and then the ban list is in like whatever 2.5 weeks. So kind of makes sense. They're pretty close together. We're also getting another Pendulum deck in Ancient Guardians. I don't know, just something about this one. The way Konami banned this card, like Pendulums weren't even that good at the moment. At least like, you know, taking over Top Cut or anything. It kind of just seemed like Konami was just like, this card is going to ruin our future plans. So I don't know. Maybe they still will. This is just one that I just kind of went on a gut feeling, said no. I'd love for it too. I've actually been looking at Metal Foes and really enjoying the way the deck wants to play, and Electromagnet is just a great piece for that. I just didn't think that it fully work out that way, but we'll see. And the last card I want to mention here is Orcus Harp Horror. This is a really interesting one because we do have Scrap Raptor review. That's the main difference for me that kind of made me think on this card. I almost lean more towards waiting for the next ban list, because we'll get the scrap cards, which, by the way, people love to add scrap cards to the Orcus strategy. I mean, Recycler's 1-card combo, but now you have 6 extra copies of Recycler. And if you have the field spell, you just like have 9 copies of a 1-card combo, and you have a card that allows you to just like play through any disruption, because any of your scraps are destroyed, you just get to special summon another scrap straight from the deck. Kind of crazy, right? So there's definitely some power there. I'm curious if Konami's going to go from the vantage point of like, let's see how it does, and then we'll put out, like, see if we can release Harp if it's still not that great, or they'll do it first and be like, let's give them Harp. If it's great, it's great, and then we can ban stuff later, or we can just sit back and watch. And then we can sit back and watch, or we'll play it safe. So I don't know where they'll go with it. I think at some point Harp will come off just to 1, and I think it'll be fine because it's not fully crazy, but at 1, but it is still a nice extender that the deck really appreciates. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's everything I want to talk about here. Yeah, I think this ban list isn't even super necessary, but I like that Konami's just keeping it on schedule and keeping it up with, like, even though the format is a pretty good format, there are still some things that we can address, so let's go ahead and address them. Hopefully we see Calamities go off the ban list, or go onto the ban list. That's the main thing I want to see. And then if they do that, I do want to see Ben 10 to 1. Other than that, I don't think any of these hits are really of consequence. And I just really hope they take off some of these cards. Like, I'd love for all those cards to come off. You know what I mean? Mirage Stalio, Colossus, Snow, Scapegoat, Red Eyes, obviously, but and then like Electromagnet and Harp Horror. I'd love for all of those cards to come off, because it makes these decks that are actually still like kind of floating just below like the level of like being playable, because these are just some of their biggest cards. If you just give them a little bit of their biggest cards back, these decks can actually have a fighting chance back in the format. So I'd love to see that just be more decks that can actually compete on a high level, and I'm always down for that. But that's gonna do it for me here, guys. Of course, let me know in the comment section down below what what do you disagree with? What would you put on here? What would you take off of here? Just let me know your discrepancies in the comments down below. I love you. Thank you for watching, even though I'm probably rambled more than usual or something. I don't know. I'm very tired. Also, shout out to the guy that just called me nuts. Not like he called me crazy, but he just referred to me as if my name was Nuts because of the name of the channel. And I fucking love that. I'm just nuts. Oh, it's amazing.